Live from the Injured on the Go Just Call Mo studio.
It's a blast!
It's Orlando's own Tom and Dan.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am clearing my nose out. Sorry, allergies are crazy. I am Dan.
And we're going to talk about this later on in the show, but you can get your tickets to the Science on Tap Beer Fest, January 25th.
Yeah, man.
Lock Haven Park. All proceeds go to benefit the Orlando Science Center, and it's a really nice beer fest. And me and Daniel will be out there.
It is. The signage is correct. The area and the field that you are participating in is great. All the breweries that participate and meaderies that participate are great.
Yeah.
And all of the money goes to help out the Science Center. Become a member. OSC.org.
Yep, members get a discount for tickets.
What do you know about FAS? And I don't mean the window company.
I have no idea.
Okay. I mentioned this to my wife. She said the window company. It's called foreign accent syndrome. Are you familiar with this? So I said that to my wife, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's what Madonna has." And
yes.
I looked my wife dead in the eyes. And I said, "Madonna ain't got no foreign accent syndrome. She ain't got that. She hit her head and she speaks British. That's not true.
Well,
that's fake. That's fake news. That is not real. And if she claims that, she's a liar. Fudge ass."
I think.
Remember, I texted her, I tweeted her on Instagram. I said, "What's up, fudge ass?" And she gave me a heart. She gave me a heart on that, which is still, I don't understand why she did it. It just shows you how tough she is. She's a tough broad.
I have personally seen someone live in Miami long enough to speak with a Spanish Cuban-like accent.
That's code switching. That's what the chat room's saying. Yeah, that's code switching.
But
that's where you alter your dialect and how you deliver your message based on the race, nationality, or type of people you think you're addressing, right?
But that's if you're cognizant or you're doing it on purpose.
You don't think you can subconsciously code switch? You don't think that, like, your brain is... I think your brain is powerful enough to walk into a room that's primarily Spanish people or Latin friends of yours, and you'll instantly go more Latin just because the essence of the energy is Latin.
Not Latin because I'm too familiar with, because I grew up in Miami.
Yeah.
I do it with the Asians.
Okay.
Where I tend to do a bow.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad you said that.
And then I'm like, and then I may talk to
well,
them.
hold on. We'll pause that for a second because like this foreign accent syndrome, a lot of people get it. So I go down this rabbit hole with my insomnia last night. I'm laying in bed, and I go through this crazy rabbit hole of all these like different people that are affected by this, because at first I'm like laughing, I'm yucking it up, right? I'm like, this is wild. But then you realize that a lot of these people are tortured. They're crying about it and saying like how terrible this is and how horrible of an affliction this is. It's ruined their life because they don't even know who they are anymore. And then I started thinking about it, and then I came across this lady, and I swear to God, out of all of them, this lady got the worst one because there are variations. And I'm going to tell you right now, and you hit the nail on the head. If you get British, that's the best one. That's like that's like snake eyes, dude, or double sixes. But if you get Asian, it's the worst one, and I'll tell you why.
Sarah has spent most of her life in Plymouth and had the accent to match until recently.
So, fish and chips. Chips. I say that right? Yeah.
3.5 years ago, she was rushed into hospital with a migraine, which left her with a voice she didn't recognise.
I have not actually heard my voice in the conversation for nearly 3 years now.
Her initial response upon hearing how she used to sound from a bank telephone recording
Good afternoon, thank you for calling.
was to long for her old accent to return.
Yeah, I'm not actually ringing about my policy though. I'm ringing for a quote.
That's
Do you
her.
still want my policy number?
I know it's me, but I feel like I want to say, oh, she make a good speak. She speak a good, but like that, not me no more.
That's nuts, right, dude? She got the worst one. She got the worst one. That's the worst one. I'm not trying to be mean. That's the worst one.
Shouldn't be laughing so hard.
No, I mean I laughed. But it's the worst one because if you're gonna get them, if you get British, how does your brain decide which one you get? Or is it just totally random, no free will? This has been like the theme of the week. So I'm just going through watching this video. So just follow me here. The first one I watched was British. Second one I watched was French. was like a lady that woke up and she's like, oh, hello. And then I get to this lady and I'm like, well, this lady, everybody's going to think you're screwing around. How do you convince people you're not screwing around?
That must be hard because even though they're doing a serious, some sort of news report or documentary about
she
this.
She looked at herself, bro, and said, she talk good.
No,
People are going to think you're screwing around. People are going to think you're screwing around.
Okay, I had this buddy.
You have to wear a sign on you can never go out. You have to stay inside for the rest of your life.
I had this buddy in high school we used to party with.
Baloney Andy.
And no. And he had.
Goth fingernails.
He had bipolar, which we didn't know back then.
Yes.
But we know now, or a version of it, and he, when he drank, he used to flip into this character like with a British accent.
What was his name?
Edgar.
Was it Mr. Tip Top?
No.
Oh, no, Mr. Tip Top's back. Hello, it's me, Mr. Tip Top, and I hope everything's in tip-top shape, I do.
And it's funny because when you're in high school, you don't know about mental health or whatever. You just think someone's effing around, and you're like, he's drunk again. He's Edgar.
Knock it off.
and then he used to do it, and like totally, and then play and never get out of character. It's just like, and then we used to be like, Edgar's here. And then he'd be at the party.
You fed into it.
Well, yeah, everyone was just messing around.
Too. I think I would do that too.
And
here comes Edgar. A lot of people in the chat room are saying, I'll quote one, I feel like if you switch to an accent, not a language, it's got to be fake. So I realize that by bringing this up, it is funny to see this lady do. Like, it's also if she's not controlling it, this is torture.
So
no wonder these people were crying online that I was watching their videos.
I've seen this has happened a lot of times before, and from what it seems like, and people have done medical professionals.
This is the worst one.
That this is a real thing that happens to people. Now, whether or not someone's faking it, or it's real, or it's some sort of other imbalance.
Because it could be another,
Yeah, I mean, it's really complicated. That's the thing about the brain. There's millions of neuro firings that all have to come together for a bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's insanely complicated. I know for a fact that, and I watched that snowboard documentary years ago. I think it's like Shane McConkey or something.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
Anyway,
well, see, that one's different to me. Like this lady woke up. This lady effectively was just like your random British lady.
But she said she had a migraine. Did she have a brain bleed or something, or like a stroke?
I don't know if she had that. They said it was just she would have multiple migraines a year.
Because some sort of trauma seems like a trauma needs to happen for it to affect this.
You would think that.
But going back to the brain injuries can change your personality. For a fact, like you can hit your head, have a traumatic brain injury, recover. If it's bad enough, it's like something you have to relearn how to walk and stuff.
Yeah.
And you come out the other side of it with a different personality than you had before.
Yes, I watched that documentary. I remember that.
And that's happened to a lot. And then their friends and family, like, this person is a different person. It's still the person I love, but this person acts different. You have a different personality than they did before. So having a different personality kind of ties into having a different accent. It's just bizarre, and we can't wrap our head around it, and it seems fake.
It does tie in, but what's so weird about this, from what I'm reading and from the videos I watched last night going down this rabbit hole of what we're talking about is foreign accent syndrome, is that all of these people, their lives don't change other than they just talk like this lady literally has the same British life, except now she sounds like she's making fun of Asian people.
Yeah. Or
that's insane.
She was from an Asian country and she just learned English, and she
looks like Shelley Duvall.
No,
there's
I know.
No way in a million years you'd look at her and be like, you were born in China.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sometimes there's weird anomalies where people are born somewhere and learn, like
the first time you saw a black person that spoke British.
Yeah. Then you're like,
it
what?
literally blew my father's mind. I think my dad was like, oh my God. What is this?
So now,
does she talk again? Let me see if she talks again. Hold on.
Impediment. There's nothing foreign about it. Obviously,
Oh no, this is one of the other ladies. They interview other ladies too. I guess you can get into a like with anything, you could go and you try to do therapy, and kind of
Speech therapy.
and do like speech therapy to try to like regain control of. It's sad. Like there is a huge part of it that's like if it's completely out of your control.
Because you can,
That's wild,
through
man.
speech therapy, get rid of an accent, or living in a certain culture for long enough, your accent will disappear. You've seen it with British friends of
Right.
ours, like,
And then they go back and it comes right back.
and then
It's
it
almost
can
like
switch.
It's like muscle memory.
Yeah, but even going back to my buddy that grew up in Miami over 20 years, now he speaks with he's Cuban Spanish accent. He's whiter. He's as white as I am. He doesn't even know Spanish, but he's married to a Cuban lady. He's incorporated into their culture, and over 20 years,
Yeah.
like if you met him, you're like, oh, this guy's Cuban for sure. And like he sounds like he's from Miami Cuban. Like there is a distinct accent you get. Especially like Miami Cuban, it's a thing, right?
I kind of thought I was gonna marry,
and he's not doing it on purpose.
I had not a dream, but I think I thought there was a part of me when I was a single man that I thought I was going to marry a woman of color and learn a culture instead of my old whiteo no culture.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm too old and lazy to get involved with learning another
Oh, well,
culture.
the ship has sailed. I married a Polish lady. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, there was a part when I was a single man, I was like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
spicy. You got to go spicy. I never did, though. Never did. Dated, but never went that direction.
It's interesting because there's no way to know the truth as far as this lady. Like she could tell you this. And you could.
I believe her.
It seems
I
like
believe her. I mean, what a
for
ruse. Why would you?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
my
yeah,
God. What
yeah.
a torturous ruse. Like, that'd be literally the worst prank. You got me. Hey, good one. Good job. But you made your life terrible.
Yeah, so it seemed like there's no reason behind it. What's the motivation for faking this? So it's got to be real.
Unless you just really love doing the Asian voice. You're like, it's so fun. I love it. Oh, man.
But it's probably caused so many problems that it's, counterintuitive to
Look, if we're really
quality
gonna
of life.
dial this in, I bet you she doesn't talk that much. I bet you it makes you be like, you know what? F it. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'll text.
Crazy.
I'm done.
So this is I know you sent me a video earlier today of Andrea's grandpa.
Oh yeah, let me pull that up.
With a whip, and he's 101 years old.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy that he can do this. I'm going to load this video up so everybody can see it. Hopefully it works here. I don't even know where she got this. I guess this was yesterday. I guess he's just out in the backyard, like whipping it up somehow. Like, I don't know what the hell's happening here.
Or he just got a whip out. He's showing his whip skills.
Yeah, but like, why would you do that at 101? I mean, I guess why wouldn't you do that at 101, really, right? I mean,
if you could do it, you do everything you can still do.
I honestly can't do it. Here, let me put this up.
And so he looked great, by the way.
Yeah, he is in excellent shape. I'm gonna make it so I can hear the.
Like-
I gotta get it so you can hear the audio here. Sorry that this is taking so long, my friend.
Here's
There we There he is. Okay, there's him cracking a whip. This is Andrea's grandfather. He is 101 years old. He's dressed in the finest of, as your grandfather would call them, dungarees.
Yeah.
He's got on his flannel, and I guess yesterday, while I was sitting here sedentary with my hips rotting away, he decided that at 101 he would go out into his property and use his bullwhip.
Yeah.
There he goes. And here we get a good one here. Look at him. He moves good. Yeah, wow.
So
Getting it. Straight, get Florida cracker. Real Florida cracker.
we were, joking around about Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I need one of those hover
And
wheelchairs.
He's on basically a motorized electric motor wheelchair that kind of looks like a Segway that you like kneel on or whatever. And we were speculating his age, and he's only like in his late 60s.
Oh, I know.
And
What do you think about me? Like, I feel like I'm 48.
And it just goes to show you, like, now, I don't know if that was a result of hard living or just genetics or whatever, but when you look
Yes, it was. I looked it up.
When you
Have
look,
you seen his face?
Yeah,
His face
yeah.
is the telltale.
And you're like,
He's got the alcohol drug face.
when there's 40 years difference between that dude who can't walk and Andrew's grandpa.
Yeah.
40, like
Yeah.
my almost lifetime.
Yeah, he still
I've
drives.
lived, and
He drove over to Christmas with his girlfriend.
and
It's awesome. He's awesome.
this is what human beings, especially rich human beings, like strive to obtain, which is some sort of fountain of youth that you could live to 101 and still be out there whipping it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, you
have
some of the qualities that he has. A lot of the qualities that I see of people that live a long time, at least from my perspective, I don't really have a lot of those, which is unfortunate. But one of them that I see in you, I see it with my best friend Dave, his dad Emmett, with Andrea's granddad. It's patience. I feel like, and there's a generosity and patience aspect to how all those people, you're like that. There's a calmness there that I almost feel like you need. Those of us that are wound up tight, I feel like we rot our organs or run them like we're rotten. Like I feel rotten inside.
No, you're not rotten inside.
I feel rotten. I mean, I'm rotten inside. You don't
Yeah,
know. You don't know. Want me to show you? Want to see inside of me?
Like,
I'll show you.
You know,
I'll gape it.
It seems like genetics is, you know, a huge part of it. You know, like somewhere like 75% of it.
Teeth clenched 24/7. Yeah, that's how I live my life. I'm literally like, I mean, it's like that's not healthy.
Well, there is I never understood the link, and I guess I could just Google it. Like people are like stress and like the heart link and stuff like. But if you have that mentality though, but are healthy otherwise, like you eat good, exercise well, and then will just the stress affect you over, you know, if everything else is good? Like I feel like, if everything else is good, the stress is going to have a minimal effect.
Well, I also feel like stress is different for each person. You know, how it affects them. It's almost like having a shellfish allergy, you know? It's like you may be able to handle tons of it, but some people, they can't even handle a lick of it. Not even a little bit. This is where I go on my rant about how kids now are very soft. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. Hey, another thing that I wrote down to talk to you about that I thought you might find interesting is one of the last 3 founding members of one of my mom's favorite bands, the band Chicago.
Okay. I know.
25 or 64. Yeah, everybody knows Chicago. Hard to say I'm sorry. I mean, legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Fame style band, right? One of the 3 surviving members, I think it was the saxophone player, I was reading this morning in an article, and he said that he sees nothing wrong with the concept of the band Chicago just going on forever.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, just new members and just they're using the name.
Well, I mean, he's saying with no original members, he is completely fine.
Yeah. With
the band just continuing. And I don't think so. I don't think that's right.
Well, I guess it all depends on...
I think it dies with the last surviving member of the band.
There's been other bands.
Yeah, I looked them all up. I looked up a ton of them
that have attempted to do this. One being Kiss, that I know, like Gene Simmons wanted to.
Well, they're doing the avatars. That's different. That's crazy old men. They're doing avatars.
Yeah.
The bands right now that I know of, that one has Florida roots. You know it.
Leonard Skinner?
Yeah, nailed it. Number 1, Leonard Skinner. After the passing of Gary Rosington in 2023. A couple of years ago, the band no longer includes any founding members. Why would I go see Leonard Skinner with no Leonard Skinner in it?
Well, I guess that's
It's just the essence of Leonard Skinner, right?
It is.
It's an avatar,
name.
yeah.
It's their songs.
The Drifters, same thing. The Temptations, same thing. Little River Band, same thing. The Platters, Quiet Riot, the Four Tops, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. That one hurt. Blood, Sweat, and Tears hurt. I believe that I worked an event. I did something for Real Radio way back in the day with the last surviving member of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I forget what it was. It was something.
I guess.
Yes,
So
the Zombies, Journey, Blackfoot, Gwar. Gwar hurts. I didn't know there were no surviving members or original members of Gwar after Dave Brockie left. Or, well, he passed away.
You're right, and they can be right too.
No.
You could say it isn't technically this band anymore because there's no original members, right?
Because with the influence, the original influence is gone. So all you're doing now is emulating the influence of the original members. Now, if you take the band in a completely different direction, I might give that a nod. But who's going to do that? Like if Journey became like a house band, house music.
Yeah.
Techno.
But technically, if the band purchased or they have the rights to play the original music from the original band, and they're the only ones that legally own the rights, I guess, then I guess if you look at it like a small business, then that small business is still operating and it still has the original music. And even though there's no original members, it's still they still have the same small business license as the original members.
Okay,
Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
It's not a tribute band.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. I think I know the answer.
Yeah.
If you were, I think I know your answer to this, and you probably can guess my answer to this. If you were going to a fictional mom and pop pizza place called Tony's Pizza, and Tony was always there serving you up the pizza, and you went in there to get your cheese and pepperoni, you got them every single Friday night, right, for 15 years, and then Tony decides to sell the pizza place to Steve, and now it's still Tony's Pizza, but Steve owns it. Is it tarnished in your mind?
Well,
it is to me, because you're not Tony. You
tarnished.
need an Italian name, too. Sorry to be a touch I know that's a controversial statement, but I prefer that you be Italian.
Are they using Tony's recipes?
They
and
are.
Everything's the same?
They are.
If
everything is the same.
Everything's the same, then it's like still Tony's Pizza. Even though Tony's not making it, Steve's making it.
You really know nothing about us emotional people, do you? You know nothing about us. You monster.
It's just...
I need Crystal in here. Where's my friend?
Yeah, emotionally, I can see you're like, this is not the same. But if it's the same ingredients and they do the same, now if they change it, then it's a different thing, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the punchline. It does taste different to me. Are the recipes exactly the same? Yes. Yeah. I'm creating the taste difference in my mind because I'm an emotional person.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
I'm biting it, and I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, it wouldn't matter what he did. It's not going to be the same because it isn't the same.
Yeah. I mean, so now what about like when you went over to Dunderbox in Daytona? And that
they kept everything the same.
But
that's so impressive.
There's been 5 generations of people that
I don't know how they did it.
And that have worked. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how they did it.
So it's technically it's the same, but it's so far removed that it's got to be different than it was before. None of the original owners is completely different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Run by, still the same name.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that same thing. Although if there was an original member that left, and I could see, that emotionally it's not.
Chat room's weighing in. Let's see here. SJ says, 17 years at Pop's Burgers in Jacksonville. Then Pop's died, and it was never the same. Yeah, a lot of places kind of it's almost like the person was the restaurant. That happens a lot. And the recipes never mattered. Yeah, that's a weird one. That's the one that'll blow your mind. That happens a lot, I bet, in restaurants where it's like, this restaurant was Gray's, Billy's, sandwiches, little sandwich shop. And he's always there making them, and people love it. And then he dies, and then somebody else tries to continue doing it, and we're just like, it's not the same.
Well, that's the whole idea behind franchising and making a model that other people could follow exactly so that it's all standardized wherever you go, right? So it's like the McDonald's hamburger tastes the same everywhere in the world because they use the same stuff. Except for I've eaten one in Paris. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go into Europe,
I wouldn't tell people I did that.
I guess me and Crystal got stuck in an elevator with McDonald's and the German or the Parisian fire department. Was that in Germany? I think it was.
I thought it was Germany.
Yeah, the German fire department had to come save us. and big fat American McDonald's.
Let me show you one more thing that I think is really funny. So do you remember years ago we had a listener, Leo, that really wanted one of those Chow Chow dogs?
Yeah, I got scammed.
Yeah, and he got scammed, but he got scammed with the absolute worst Photoshop that he's ever seen in his it's the worst.
Yeah.
It was.
Well,
just,
we were laughing because of how bad of the Photoshop it was.
and he was just blinded by the love and the want of wanting this Chow Chow dog.
Yeah.
That he was willing to almost actively be a victim in the crime.
He looked past the obvious Photoshop and wanted to believe it so much.
Yeah, there's this lady. This came up on my feed too. There's this lady at the end of 2024. In New Delhi that was scammed by this dude out of 800,000 euros. And he said he was Brad Pitt, and he said he was locked out. He's in the hospital, and he's locked out of all of his bank accounts. Angelina Jolie had locked him out of all of his bank accounts, and he needed money. And so here I'm putting up the Photoshops of these are literally the worst Brad Pitt Photoshops. This is supposed to be him in the top one is like him with there's like a balloon in the background or something, and then there's one of him they're all like the funniest one is all the way to the left, and you can see this at twitch.com/TomandDanLive. It's him as the Inglorious Bastards Nazi hunter.
Okay.
Look, he's got the tiny mustache and the slicky hair.
So what was this? How would this trick anybody?
I guess the point of me pulling this was to prove to you that there are still really dumb, lonely people out there that will empty their wallet for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially there are both dumb men and women that, I would give the nod more so to men because we're real dumb and real lonely and desperate. Like if you can find a really dumb man who's rich online.
Yeah, that's what scammers try to do with they always start with a pretty girl picture, like, hey,
And I'll tell you, as a slightly dumb man, it does get me. I look at it. It's not like when I get I'll give you this. When I get the scam text message and it's the photo of the Asian girl usually standing on that red bridge. I don't know if you've received that one. I've gotten that picture like 25 times.
Yeah.
But when I get that photo, I always make it bigger and look at it because I don't know. I have to do it or something. No free will. I have to do it.
Speaking of scams, we changed our business credit card the other day because I noticed that there was a decline charge. And this, by the way, if you're like me, you should every once in a while check your credit cards and just see if there's a charge somewhere in their statement that doesn't you're just.
I've never thought to do that. That's a good thing I'm not in the business department.
Well, good. This happened to Crystal multiple times where there was a company that it was Amazon but spelled differently. And it was just charging her like random $14 here, $18.
Well, that is how you do it.
And because it just hopefully
that's how I used to steal from Qdoba.
They're hoping that you just blend into the credit card statement because everybody's buying stuff on Amazon. You're like, oh, this must be a charge.
Tiny amount.
Yeah. And then so this was like this, although the decline charge got me. And then I started looking back and there was a charge for $59.99.
Ooh, that sounds like something. That normally sounds like fitness, porno, nutrition.
And it was some website. There was a nonsense website.
Yeah, we looked it up.
And then every month they've been charging us $59.99 for could have been years. I have no idea. I didn't go back and look at the 2022 statements, but every month in 2024, and then it went back until at least November of 2023. And then so I disputed it. They're working on whatever. But because I did that, I just went in there literally 5 minutes ago. I didn't even tell you. And I was like, what? And I saw the credit card balance was jacked up high again. And I was like, this is weird.
Free money.
No. We owed $900.
Oh, that's not good.
And so I was like, what the hell is this?
The scammer's retaliating because you're onto them. So they're like, get him.
10 straight $59.99 charges.
Whoa.
And then $1 charge at the beginning.
The test.
And then the test worked, so they just spammed us 10 times with $59.99. And the card, they canceled it when I did it, but this must have happened the day of. Like,
Oh, they were on to you.
I have no idea.
They're
But it's like it's like what it seems pretty easy for these people to do this.
Hold on, I've got foreign accent syndrome suddenly. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that.
Anyway, now I got to call them back and then get on the hold and wait, and then, it's a pain in the ass.
There's got to be an easier way to do that, right? You know what I like that a lot of places don't do? Have you seen the ones where you can call and you can, it doesn't even ring. It just goes, enter your number. Your wait time is 20 minutes. We will call you back. Have you seen that?
Yes, yeah.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Although,
or you can decline it. Like if you can't, like if you're like, oh, I was on the way out, I can't wait 20 minutes, you can just say, no, I'll call back later.
Yeah.
I like that.
It is useful, but the problem is I want to call them while I'm driving from one place to another, or in small amounts of time I have open. I can't, have them call me back in an hour because I'll be doing something then.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't have that much time to be like, I'm just available in an hour.
Yeah, you got to be able to drop whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And then handle it. But look, I know I'm setting my ways too.
Well, it's bad for us because we're recording so much and
It's
we
the
can't
worst.
stop recording. And
Yeah.
so when we're recording, there's no other business that can be done. I talk to a lot of people that have like a desk job, and it's kind of nowadays it's like people are working on their own schedule, right? So they'll pick and choose when they get their job done, especially if they're working from home or whatever. But they have a large amount of time to get things done besides work.
Yeah, ours is real-time waste. Like, this is real-time waste.
Yeah. There's no multitasking, getting other things done.
In fact, I try to, and if I do, you can hear it pull me out of the conversation. Like, if I'm over here doing something,
Yeah.
something's like, you'll be like, well, what's he doing? What's he doing over there?
Yeah.
Let's close out with just a couple of emails, because these have a tendency to pile up. And I like to update on things that we've been talking about for the last couple weeks or months. This is from our very good friend, Mr. Carl Tully. Thank you for emailing, Tully. He says, hey, guys, I wasn't sure if you ever got to the bottom of how many times you can take traffic school courses, but I recently got a ticket, and the notice I received from Seminole County says it is 8. Here is a picture for proof. Stay bad at life, Tully. And there it is. We do have, it's right here. There is the proof there.
So
you can see the number 8 times there. It says 8 times.
So that has been increased from
3.
5.
You got 3 extras.
Yeah. So then now we should all have 3 extras if you were like me or Crystal and you went through all your lifetime 5. Which I did make the joke. I was like, we should go through all 3 this year and go back to 0 again for life.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't want to die with any available. I like to use them.
Yeah.
So even if I'm like, if I go to the doctor, they're like, it's the butt. And then I'm like, I'm using it today.
Yeah.
Just so.
Will you just go out and drive reckless or something?
No, I'll just go and take it because I'll just take.
Oh, just take it whether you need it or not.
Yeah. I don't want to leave this earth.
That's an interesting
I want to
play.
leave with 0.
It's an interesting play to do it with no infraction.
Because you can't pass them along. If I could pass them to my sons, I'll save them.
That's nepotism. You can't do it. I'm not going to let you do that.
I love nepotism.
I'm running for sheriff of Orange County.
Nepotism is my favoritism.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them.
Nepotism, autism.
Yeah.
Skepticism.
I'm an autism guy. It's not skepticism. You know what? You're going to catch a lot of shit for that. I'll have to edit that out.
Next email.
All right, hold on. Let me write down that I cursed. All right. And skepticism. This is from Lewis. He says, Dan, because we know Tom doesn't check his email. Long-time listener since the early days. I also happen to be the guy Kyle got you Magic jerseys through and may have worked for the Preds when they did their millionaire house party at Dice Man's. I drove a slightly inebriated Brett Bushy home in my Honda Civic that night as well. Anyway, riding.
This is before Uber. I like that Bushy's driving.
You drive me home, you POS.
Some BDM's Honda Civic. You're driving Bushy home.
All right, let's see here. Anyway, riding because a guy who's got to be related to Tom keeps hitting my TikTok FYP. He does top 10 list of random movie shows that he'd go have a cold one with, ranking each character as they come up. He not only looks like Van, but his username is X Games guy. X Games guy. So he's gonna be he's gotta be into jumping Gravedigger and such, while he also maintaining a marble mouth for his videos. People are really mean to you, dude. Check it out and let me know what you think. SFT Lewis. All right, I gotta find this guy. X Games guy. Let me see if I can find him.
You know, it's weird. I take, like, anytime listener, marble mouth, fool, clown, I 100% take it as they're messing with me, and they're friendly, and it's like two friends effing with each other. And when I see this, I actually feel like happy that this person listens enough to mess with me.
That is true.
And I take it as he's like, he likes me, he's my friend, and and it makes me feel good. Which is a weird thing to feel good about someone insulting you, but I 100% does.
It's less like an insult and more of like what friends do when you bust balls.
Take it 100% like that.
I can't find this. Anyway, I'll try and find it later. For whatever reason, that guy is not popping up when I search. I don't know why. Do you remember the millionaire house party? Didn't I go to that? Is that the one where they had the little people bartending? Yeah, I went to that for a little while. It's weird at my height, I'll tell you, at 5'2". It's weird at my height to go to a millionaire like party and have a bunch of people that are just slightly shorter than you bartending, because they kind of look at you like, why aren't you back here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
so I don't think I stayed there very long.
It's crazy back in the day what ridiculous things that we just did because, I had some stupid, absurd idea that I kind of wanted to ruin everything.
But there were a bunch of...
I didn't do it because I thought it was good. I did it because I thought it was stupid.
It was disruption.
And it was like...
It's a disruption.
Like I wasn't like, hey, this will be a great marketing idea for your business.
Against,
like, hey,
it was against the norm. It was kind of punk rocky.
Like I was kind of hoping that this was like a bad thing for everybody. Right. I didn't care. And it's funny that they went along with it.
What happened to the imitators? Like for Dice Man, and I know we haven't talked about him in a minute, but I know one thing we haven't talked about was there was like maybe 5 to 6 different like Dice Men Juniors that kind of popped up.
Bellagio Dice Man.
You had Bellagio Dice Man, but
we
there
were playing dice at that party.
But there were other Dice Men.
That guy's brother, was Falconer Jones. I brought his both from.
But there were other guys. Then there was the guy with the razzle jeans and the pointy shoes.
Yes,
he was a high roller for that mortgage company.
Yeah,
or the bank. What was the bank that the Predators worked with? Started with a P.
I have no idea. It was some sponsor of theirs.
Yeah. And that guy was always down there with his pointy boots on, marching around on the field like he owned everything.
There's 2 types of rich guys. And there's the rich guy that...
Oh, you sound like Jerry Jones and Landman.
No.
There's 2 types of rich guys.
That I've witnessed. I'm sure there's more types, and I'm just generalizing. But there's the rich guys that want to flaunt their cash and want everybody around them to know they're rich, right?
Right.
And then there's the rich guys that kind of prefer to not be in the limelight and not have anybody know how rich they are.
And have their housekeeper crap through a hammock.
And usually it's the guys that are really, really wealthy that are kind of want to, not be so flashy. And because I remember...
Oh, yeah. When you have less money, you spend more of it. You put it all on your clothing. You put it all in your car.
I remember when Bushy flew us to the Bahamas and we were in the Exumas and we went to some island and one of his business associates was looking to buy...
a house. I remember this.
Well, no, 100 yards of a beach and then develop the project. So he's talking to local Bahamian families because apparently how it works in the Bahamas is the land and beach land gets, through generations of family, they own it and it gets to the point where it's 30
Bahamian landman.
But 30 members of this family all own a portion of this 100 acres of beach, right?
That's cool.
So they all have to agree to sell, right?
I'm not selling it to no round eye.
So it's hard for...
I'm not selling.
people to negotiate with when there's so many people because they all have to agree or whatever. But I remember
not for sale, man.
We were sitting at this
That's
bar.
what I would say.
Well, it depends on the
That's what I would say.
If it's
not for sale, good day, man.
If it's enough for
I said good day, man.
Here's the thing: they're living in poverty, and then now
Yeah, but I have morals. I'd rather stand on my feet than die on my knees, man.
What do you want to live with $1 million? I
do. I do. You could have
That's
it.
what happened.
You could have it.
But I remember sitting there at the bar.
I've just always wanted to say I said good day.
And I remember Bushy saying like, "Hey, who do you think is the richest guy in this place?" And I was looking around.
He wanted you to say him.
And and I was like, I was looking around trying to find some guy in razzle jeans like I knew rich guys acted, right?
Pinnacle Finance. That's what it was.
And
Pinnacle Finance.
He's like that guy over there. And it was a guy that was at the end of the bar that had some like Columbia fishing shirt on and had board shorts and sandals and a like scruffier beard or whatever. And he's like, that guy's worth over $100 million. And I'm like, oh my God. He's like, he's got a yacht over there or whatever. And he's like, that's the guy that wants to fund like 30 million, this, whatever. It's like some insane amount of money. And he just looked like a standard Florida fisherman, like alcoholic, and it was
like any guy you'd see.
Anything flashy. He didn't even have like a super nice Rolex or whatever, and some guys roll like that, like they're insanely rich and they don't have anything flashy. And then on the opposite, some guys have like they're a millionaire in assets and they probably got like $600K liquid maybe, but they spend a lot. What I'm saying? Yeah. And those are the guys that have the Rolexes, the suits.
I do like the guys that are loaded. They got like the new Hummer EV. They get out there dripping a cologne and all of that. They don't have a pot to piss in. I love it.
Or everything's
living in an apartment. I love it.
Yeah.
You live in an apartment, but you drive. There's nothing I love more than going through an apartment complex and seeing there's one over here in the Baldwin apartment complex. There is a McLaren in the apartment complex, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want to? I guess whatever you value, it's on you. It's your money. I'm just saying, why wouldn't you want to buy a house?
If portraying wealth, it's easy to trick people. That's why Bernie Madoff's happen, and even what the hell Epstein's, like someone that just basically conned their way into being in the millionaire lifestyle through
tons of stories of this,
pretending to be one of the millionaires and being the most charismatic, and and it's like other people easily tricked, like they're like, oh, this guy, he's got the suit, he's got all the stuff, like no one really
limousine riding.
No one's investigating that much. They're just like, oh, face value, like
you don't have time and you got your own problems and you're selfish.
Yeah. And the person's confident, you give them your money.
Yeah, confidence is king.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, we will be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, and I'm laughing because the chat room is very, very funny, and you can be a part of that chat room. Just head over to twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live, or you can search YouTube Tom and Dan Live at Tom and Dan Live. We broadcast every single workday for 5 hours or so, 3 hours or so, and we'd love to have you be there. So like and subscribe wherever you watch your podcasts.
So it's Wednesday.
Yeah, ma'am.
So let's do a little weird job.
I made a new one. The man that we're talking to, I believe he likes the metal. He's a bit of a heavy metal man.
Yeah.
And I started playing around with like real metal, like he likes, but it wasn't coming out good enough, like where you could actually hear the vocals. So I took a step back in time and did a little bit of an 80s sort of a hair metal version. We don't do enough of these. This is Weird Job Wednesday.
It was wild, it was grand. Weird Job Wednesday, yeah, the talk of the land. Dan raised his fist, said, man, that's legit. But Tom shook his head, said, that's total bullshit. Oh, just another Weird Job Wednesday. Turn it up, let it rock, let it play. Yeah, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Crank the amp, screaming loud all the way.
There you go. It's Weird Job Wednesday. Weird Job Wednesday.
When you're writing the lyrics, you can save yourself some work by not putting the curse on it.
It's not, it's not as good. It's not as good when you beep it ahead of time. It really isn't. It really, really isn't. You got to let the energy. It all comes back to energy, man. Comes back to what we were talking about. The energy, when you beep it, it's a different energy. You got to have that original S word energy.
Energy isn't real. Just like birds. Make that sticker. So on the line with us right now, he's been a listener for a while. Adam, how you doing, Adam?
Doing good. And I started out with hair metal, so I love that.
Okay. Well, hey, we're glad to have you, man. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome to Weird Job Wednesday. Now, this is the first time Tom's ever done this. I don't believe you've ever done this, where this is like either you're a genius or lazy because you did dealer's choice. We've never done a Weird Job dealer's choice.
Adam told us he has had a bunch of different jobs.
Bunches.
But a lot of them are pretty interesting and good for Weird Job. One being a parade, what would you call it? Manager, parade associate? I don't know. Around the parade industry.
That one looks really hard.
During the parade, I'm the spotter, and that really evolved from when we used to live broadcast it on television. And so my job is to make sure to relay the order of what's going on because it kind of changes sometimes, and relay that so that the MC isn't saying, hey, this is Girl Scout troop, whatever, and it's actually Boy Scout troop something else, or, a restaurant or something. And so that was my original job, along with keeping the gaps set correctly and keeping people safe by keeping them off the streets.
Mind the gap?
But I also do the map and everything. I've been on the committee for the Winter Park Christmas Parade for 20 years now. This was my 20th.
He was being yelled at. I saw him. I may or may not have saw him allegedly. I don't like to, I was hiding in the crowd. This man was being yelled at by every bougie jerk Winter Park mom you've ever seen. They were all breaking
what are
the
they
rules.
yelling at him for?
They're all breaking the rules. You're not supposed to be in the street of the parade because you have sheriff service vehicles, a SWAT team driving down the tanks and you got kids jumping for peppermints, and these vapid douchebag Winter Park moms are yelling at him as he's walking. He's like, guys, you please get back. You could get killed. And they're like, F you. Just don't
My
care.
kid likes the candy.
Yeah, my kid does what we are rich. We do what we want.
I like that. Yeah.
Like, Adam, am I lying?
No. They are. It's very challenging. They actually, one of them.
No, he is nothing but polite. I want to reiterate that he is nothing but polite, but the people are bristly with him, not cool.
They made my daughter cry, actually. My daughter has been doing it with me. She's been to every one since she's been alive. I've either carried her at the end or whatever, but even though she had a big thing that day, it was a long day for her, she had to go to another parade and be in it. But that they made her, a lady made her cry. She comes up to me crying, what's going on? So I went over there, and then when I have to, I just go and get one of Winter Park's finest to come over there and explain it to them. So
it does make it. I noticed that you walked by, that's true. He walked by.
Who makes a little girl cry because she's trying to?
I'm not kidding you, Tom. I'll tell you what I saw. He walked by, Adam walked by, and he's everybody back, hey, get back. He's limited, right? You're not going to get into a pissing match with these people. And then when the cop came by, everybody respected it. And they had some big giant cop walk by and go, hey, you got to get back. You got to get back. They don't care, man.
Yeah.
They don't care.
You need a gun, Adam. I feel like that's where they listen to you if you have a gun.
And it was a great parade. I mean, you had a ton of entries, man. Well done. It was a good one. I like a parade.
Yeah, I've been fine-tuning, and I'm the main, not the only one, certainly. Lots of input from the other people on the committee. As it stands now, I'm about the longest-serving person left on it because our chair retired and things, and I've just been doing it a long time. But I'm the one that does most of the layout of the parade, trying to keep it so it's not all a bunch of walkers, keep the bands separate from each other, and things like that. It takes a little bit of logistics, but we start in usually about August is where we very first start setting up the parade.
So, Adam, I know this is not your particular job, but let's talk about the business of a parade.
I've always, look, I have to say this. Can I say this?
Who does it benefit?
Well, it would benefit us. I have begged you since the inception of our incorporation of T&D Media for us to get, at Christmas, I want us to get OK Plumbing van and pretend to be the Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
In
You
a Christmas,
mentioned
I've
this, yeah.
always wanted to be in a Christmas parade. Tom and Dan. That's the sign of a successful business when you're in a parade.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I agree.
I
agree.
It's the pinnacle of success. I feel
because all I see is a bunch of Mustang clubs and Jeep clubs
Yeah.
and
You got some
random
politicians in there waving.
Yeah.
You got the comptroller.
But,
you gotta
would
get a couple comptrollers in there.
They all pay to be in it. There's an entry fee, and then we have sponsors flagship sponsors, what are different sponsorship levels, and those sponsors pay in like a lot of money, and it goes to raise money for the Chamber of Commerce certainly, but it also promotes them. They're basically, it's kind of like what you guys do. They are paying for advertising, and they hand out candy and press the flesh.
We are the parade of podcasts.
There you
we
go.
give out candy.
So do you
Yeah.
tell them how many people are expected at the parade, because
It's a lot.
that's part of the advertising, right? And how many people go
Yeah.
to the Winter Park Parade, Christmas parade?
It depends. It's varied. Obviously, the COVID years, we had some smaller years there, but in general, I believe the count, it's at least 10,000 people. I know that.
The
I know
COVID
it's
years
five
are the
digits.
best years. I'm down there. It was just me. It's like 40 people down there.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and we stretched it
I'm
out.
down
We
there,
used to-
no mask, just living my best life.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
We did, for a couple years there, the Winter Park Police Department did not want to go the way we go. We go down Park Avenue, we go south, and then we take a left. And they wanted to stop doing that because it was kind of a little bit of a boggle to get people out there, and there was construction going on. So they had us go right and go across the train tracks. So for 3 years there, we had to stop and wait because there's a train that comes through during the parade, and we had to stop the whole parade, wait, and then once the train left, then restart the parade. Make sure that we're safely crossing the tracks and everything. It was a nightmare, and thankfully this year they said, no, let's go back to the old way. And we're like, yay! So that's what we've been doing. You'd be surprised. I've learned a lot about it. There's a lot of planning that goes into this thing on terms of the city, the merchants, the residents. Everybody has to know, hey, there's this big thing going on.
Yeah, there's a lot that could go wrong, which is maybe one of the reasons why I like it. I gravitate to it. Not because I want to see you get a hard time, which is what I was watching that particular day. But no, it's good. Like, you guys do a really nice job, and it's big. That thing lasts. It lasts for a long time, man. You can definitely get your medical marijuana's worth if you toot up and sit for that parade. That's a good one.
It's about an hour and a half. We start promptly at 9, and we're usually done almost
perfect.
exactly at 10:30.
It's about the length of Moana. Nailed it.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you have to the first person in the parade? Do they act like a pacer? And what's the standard speed of a parade?
Ooh.
Like, are we talking 2 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour? What are we talking here?
Probably it's no more than about 5, and the pace really gets set. It kind of can vary with ours. It really gets set by the marchers. Now, there's marching bands and color guard for the sheriff's department.
Ooh, you can't
and
say
things
that
like
anymore. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hang up on this call.
No, it's a flag.
I know.
Oh, the honor guard. I'm sorry. Yes, they're called the honor
Thank you.
guard.
Call him honor guard.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's better.
My daughter's in color guard, so I
God,
confused
we
her.
have the same fountains now, Adam.
Yes. They really do kind of set the pace because we have to kind of start and stop as they do a little bit and keep with them. But that's really one of the main things. I'm kind of juggling a lot of things. You see me there with 2 different radios and with the clipboard and everything. And that's really the main thing that I'm doing is taking notes on things that went right or wrong as I go, making sure to keep the gap set to the 3-car length gap between the back of one thing and the front of another, and making sure that people stay with them. I say the same things to the entrants over and over. Maintain their speed, start and stop when they do, and then just keep going. And it kind of naturally flows that way.
Adam, can you deny someone access to the parade?
Oh, especially now with the way things are now. You can deny anybody anything.
Well,
this is a right to work state.
No, what I'm saying is that, say I just want to...
No more Mustang clubs. We're Jeep only. Good day.
What if I just wanted to waste my own money and drive my standard
No, you have to be
gray
unique. I'm sorry.
Toyota Corolla in the parade. Like, I just want to drive and the windows up and promoting nothing. I just want to be in the parade.
No, you want to
I'll
drive
pay.
windows up, but you're smoking. But you're smoking one cigarette.
I'll pay to be in there and pay whatever the parade fee.
But I don't want anyone looking at me. I want them to look away as I'm driving.
Have you ever had someone like this?
Yeah,
this,
private rider.
Or that's not so flashy and doesn't add anything, and you're just like, well, you can't. We need some more pizzazz. You can't just.
Is that the first time you've ever said that word? I think that might be the first time that's ever graced your tongue.
Or is that insane and no one's ever?
You're
requested
definitely
that?
a less than 3 times pizzazz man.
There is an application process, and I'm pretty sure if it was somebody with just a plain vehicle and said, no, I'm not promoting anything, just me and my dog driving down the road.
I like that.
I think they would probably deny that because we do have only so much space.
But my dog is, hold on, my dog is trans. I just to make him laugh. I just trying to make him laugh.
We do have an entry in the parade that is the Orlando Pride, and they're wonderful. They're excellent to deal with.
Yeah, they're champions.
Yeah, or it might be Winter Park Pride actually, but it's a pride group, and they come in there and they march. And I had them next to some Girl Scouts, and I was asked, just in case, maybe we should separate them in case someone from this Girl Scout crew from a church complains. And so we decided to separate.
That's the thing. That's the thing that you're fighting, Adam, is that people love to complain about everything.
They do, and we really try to truncate that right at the beginning.
You got to get in front of it. Yeah, just try to make it so everybody can parade with limited, grumpy face.
So Adam, there's some scientific experiment about traffic where they did this, I forgot where, but they had this huge roundabout and they just put cars going the same speed, and eventually through micro differences in speed, it started creating traffic backups for no really apparent reason, just because one car stopped a little bit, we're going a little faster, and all of a sudden now you had backups and huge gaps, and it was just explaining how traffic naturally happens with human drivers. I think it's partly because they're showing with automation and computer-driven drivers, it would eliminate a lot of this. And so I imagine that with a long enough parade, there's going to be a snake-like effect and create big gaps that you don't want in the parade because that all of a sudden, and so how do you account for that?
Well, what I do is I get out there and I stand in the middle and I start waving my clipboard going, come on.
Yeah, he walks in. He was doing, that was the other thing he was doing.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that. Other than just people yelling at him because they wanted to dive under vehicles for candy. Worthless candy, by the way. I'm talking peppermint, like peppermints.
Yeah.
It's not good candy. They're not diving for Reese cups. They're diving for peppermints. But no, the other thing that he would do is that you would see him walking it, constantly massaging the length of it, bringing this person up, making this person slow down, making this person stop. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And how many of you are walking at the same time?
You mean walking along and doing this?
Yeah.
It's me, my daughter now the last few years, and whatever volunteers I get. And that's one of the good things about talking about it like this is, we're always looking for volunteers, and a lot of kids in
I put Tom's name in there. I threw.
There you go,
Yeah, Mr. Observant.
But a lot of high school kids is what I get. The problem is somebody has to not be afraid to say to someone, hey, you got to do this, that, the other. But then they also have to listen to them. They go, oh, it's just some kid. Yeah, so it's difficult. I would almost rather have, adults. I know BDMs would do a great job, hint, hint.
Yeah.
But
I'll get out there. I'll yell at some people for you. Get the hell out of here.
I will only volunteer to do things if you pay me. Mm-hmm. So that's my rule.
I like that.
What do you want me to do? I'll volunteer for this. You have to pay me for it. Yeah. That's it. That's my only stipulation. If you pay me, I'll volunteer to do anything.
How do you feel about it? Go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
I was going to say, and that's the thing. This is the weird jobs that I suggested. I have a couple of different volunteer things that I do. And then I'm also a docent at the Central Florida Zoo. But it's not my real job. I don't get paid for any of these things. I get paid to do my boring job, which is, I do structural engineering drawings. I'm the senior CAD technician at an engineering firm.
Oh, so you have like a real job? I thought you were a zoo dum-dum.
No.
Oh, my
no,
God. For the longest
No.
time, I thought you were just an idiot zoo
No.
dum-dum.
You're in my phone, a zoo dum-dum. You're crumbling my world.
Oh, my God. I'm like, you're smart? I didn't know you were smart. I was like, look at the way this guy dresses. He's a zoo idiot.
I'm a teacher at the zoo.
What?
I'm actually a teacher there. Yeah, I'm a volunteer teacher.
I had
but I do it
kangaroo
for
dum-dum.
They said, man, he'll do great with the monkeys.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So,
God, you learn something every day.
last parade question, then let's go over to the zoo volunteer.
Okay.
So with the parade, is there anything that's happened that
He may not be able to talk about that. Might be in current litigation.
so a vehicle's broken down?
Oh, yeah.
or,
Sheriff Mina rolled over an infant in the...
or anything happened when you were doing this parade?
We this year we did have one car that was overheating and we had to get out of there, and I got off on a side street.
Oddly enough, it was the original Sam's original Ford Ranger, the Tom and Dan truck.
Well, we have a rule, and it's dictated, again by the police department. They don't want people to throw candy from the floats, and the reason is because, for one, it hits people, and for another, when it lands.
Hold on a second. It was nothing but candy flying.
Exactly. That was the big thing this year. And the best part about it was the police chief of Winter Park was throwing candy off his float.
Oh,
like, wait a minute,
my God.
So
yeah, he wrote the law, and he's like, I can't get no free will. I can't stop myself. I have to throw the candy.
Yeah. And it wasn't, it's not like end of the world as long as you're getting it out there. But when it falls short, the kids will run out and get it.
Yeah,
and
I like to
that's
throw
why
it in
we don't
front of
want
the
it.
vehicle. As it's moving, I stand out of the sunroof, and I launch it in front of the vehicle.
Test those kids' agility. But yeah, no, we try to get people we want them to actually walk at the sides and not, they don't have to hand it, they can kind of toss it, but they need to be within a couple of feet of the edge of the road. And so I was constantly going to floats, say, oh, no, you can't throw it off there, you got to come down. And everyone, to a person, was like, oh, okay, and they just got out and they did it. So there were no issues with that.
But it isn't as
it's kind
fun.
of funny when you have the police chief doing it. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, but I will tell you, Adam, as a parade goer and as a person who does like parades, it's not as much fun to have a lady walk up to you and hand you a toothbrush with a small piece of candy attached to it. I'd rather catch the toothbrush with a small piece of candy attached. You know what I mean?
True.
Like when they walk up and they hand it to you, I'm like, why are you giving me this? I did nothing for this. I didn't earn this.
Oh, last question. How does a parade end? Is there a stage?
There's a hole in every, like right into the hole.
What?
And they can't stop.
Like is it end in a big enough parking lot for everybody to
kind of party and high five?
Or do you just like, go, get out of here, go home? Like they just drive
go
away?
Straight home, go.
It does end near, it's by a parking lot, but it does end at a spot where it's prearranged where people disperse from there and go back to where they parked, or parents are picking up kids or whatever. That's one of the biggest challenges down there in downtown Winter Park. I mean, it's a wonderful area. It's beautiful, but there's a lot of stuff. And we're doing this, and people are open for business and things like that. But we wrap around, we take a left and then wrap around, and we do have a spot where we let people out and people disperse.
I need more, not to complain, but you're on the line.
Mm-hmm.
A captive audience. I need more horses. I need more animals in the parade.
Oh yeah. We've only got a few.
Only a few.
We used to have dogs. It was like lostdogs.com or something like that.
I want a bunch of lost dogs.
All they did was complain about how we can't be by this, we can't be by that. It's too loud. The dogs are scared, and we're finally just like, look, it's a parade, Yeah. So we kind of stopped having them in the parade. They kind of quit applying.
I get it. That makes sense. I appreciate the explanation.
I'm trying to do the math on how much money you could generate from a parade.
What's the entry fee, Adam?
I'm not 100%, but I want to say I think it's only like $75 or $150.
You guys got to raise that. You got to raise that up. You could do $200.
I think it's less for chamber members. Now, if their business is a member of the Winter Park Chamber of Commerce, then obviously, I think they might get a discount. But then the sponsors pay the big.
We need to get in, dude. We need to get in these parades.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I don't.
We need some sort of wacky vehicle. We need like
You
something.
need to get Sam to get that truck back.
No, that's ship has sailed. What about Skunk Man, the guy that drives a skunk car around town? Or what if
There
he let
you
us
go.
borrow his skunk car to drive it around? Right?
Have a skunky Christmas.
Yeah, we need something. Some kind of, like, what sort, like a Wienermobile or something? We'll find
I
something.
know.
I don't want to ruin your business here, Adam, but I've never seen someone in a parade and like, I'm going to use that business. They're in this parade.
Oh, I have.
Really?
Many times. In fact, many of the small businesses I use to this day have come from parade.
So
I think
it's my
it's
phone
just
book,
more
if you
getting
will.
the name out there,
Yeah.
and I agree. I don't always understand the concept
What-
of that kind of advertising. But it
Adam,
works.
what's falling on deaf ears with Tom is that he does not believe in the perceived connection to the community. You know, I feel like when you're in the parade, people see that and go like, these are the people that are the pillars. These are the luminaries. These are
Yeah.
the people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're not
Yep.
in the parade, who are you? What are you even doing for Winter Park?
A good example of one of the companies that's in the parade is Jeremiah's.
Oh,
You
he
know,
was in the
Italian
parade, and he gave my wife a bunch of coupons, almost as if they had kissed before.
Yep. They hand out coupons.
I mean, he
and
couponed
stuff.
her bad, dude. Like, he walked up, he's giving coupons to all the kids, and he walks up to
Yeah.
Andrea, the real Jeremiah, which we've known for forever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he handed Andrea like 30 coupons. I mean, you have kissed.
Yep, and that's a good example. You know, they're out there, and hey, here's a free sample if you've never tried it or whatever the case is. And
Yeah.
and like you said, people see. You know, this is bougie. This is the Winter Park Christmas
I got
parade. This is
6
what, the
toothbrushes,
70-something one. Yeah.
Oral B. They're Oral B. They weren't even like the BS ones. They're the good ones.
So let's say
Oh, yeah.
you get 100
Right.
people paying $100 in the parade. That's 10,000. Each advertising, you want to be a sponsor, with 2,500, 5,000. I'm
No, you have
guessing.
tiers. You have a 2,500, 1,000, and 500.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
750. Let's go 750.
But let's say you get 20,000 in sponsors, 30,000. The police charge you. That's like
Oh, that's expensive.
$5,000 in cops, and then
You
the
got to rent
street
the barricades.
closures,
You got to
the
rent
barricades.
the barricades are expensive.
Yeah. Seems
You
like
got to rent the radios. Those are expensive.
Yeah. Then you
I
get
don't know
volunteers.
if the police charge. I
Oh,
can
they
find
charge.
out. I'm not 100%
Adam,
sure.
think about what you're saying.
yeah.
Think about. I'm not trying to get you into trouble. Look,
let's say
think about
Adam,
what you're saying.
Let's say I was a cop. You think I'm doing this for free?
You look like a
True,
cop.
okay.
Look
Yeah,
at you.
yeah.
This
I
guy-
wanna be
this
a cop.
guy- you are a cop.
Yeah. I mean, there's so
I
many
knew you were a
opportunities.
cop.
And you're like, hey, come out here and protect the Winter Park Parade. I'm gonna say, well,
Yeah. What are you doing for me?
I mean,
I want you to protect these nuts.
I need I need double time because that's the standard.
Oh, yeah.
And then
You're paying me for a holiday. It's time and a half.
Yeah, holiday. yeah.
Triple
And
pay.
Yeah. So I'm making like $180 an hour to sit in my squad car and eat Chick-fil-A.
I'm doing nothing. All I'm going to do when the kid gets run over is radio for help. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. You know, like I'll put my hood up. I'll eat some Chick-fil-A. I'm scrolling Bovada. I'll get out. I'm wearing a Santa hat. My wife gave me.
You just do a little bit of, you get that cone, you know, the flashlight with the orange thing on it. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, come on. Keep it moving.
So
Keep it moving.
you're paying
The magic
me.
wand.
You're paying me like $780 for the night. So that's coming out of the
And then when I
bottom
go
line.
home, the sad thing is when I go home, I slap everybody around. Can't help myself. No free will.
yeah.
Choices were already made.
Well, I'm angry. And I'm drunk too.
You hitched yourself to the angriest wagon.
Yeah. Then I'll take my gun out and do that move where I sit on the side table
Yeah.
and then
It's passive. It's a passive aggressive threat.
yeah, the whole family's just looking.
And I
at her.
regret I even did it.
Yeah.
So let's end real quick with this, Adam. So you've been a docent, which I've learned from the Orange County Regional History Center that the new director that is basically a fancy word for intern.
Yeah. Well, you give tours. You give tours and stuff.
It
right?
really comes from the Latin for volunteer teachers, what a docent is, and they're found at museums, zoos, and places like that, where basically you're like your tour guides at museums and everything.
Yeah.
Most of those are volunteers because those kinds of places can't afford to pay a ton of people. Now we do have zoo teachers that are on the payroll there that they pay, but then you can be a volunteer. There's lots of volunteer opportunities at the zoo because it's a non-for-profit organization, and as you guys know, it's a very it's a little bit smaller. It's not like the National Zoo or something, and it's just a wonderful place with wonderful people. And so I got into it. My mother actually did it many years ago.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's cool that
so-
she sort of passed on like a love for animals, or at least helping out to you. Like, when was your first interaction with the zoo? When did you start?
I've been doing it for 8 years. My 8-year anniversary of my first graduation, because there's 2 parts to the course, but my graduation and becoming a docent was October 1st of 24. So I've been there since 2016.
Oh, wow.
And I did it because my degree is actually in animal biology, and I was a veterinary technician, and I specialized and became a veterinary radiographer for years. And then I was on disability for a few years and had to kind of choose a new career, as it were, and stumbled into what I do now. But just having worked with animals ever since I was young and all my life, I really wanted to do something. And then I remembered my mom did that, and I saw something somewhere, and so I applied, and that's my happy place. If you ever go on one of the night hikes, they have them in March, June, and September, the big public night hikes that we do 3 times a year. I'm always at them unless there's some reason I'm out of town. That's my main thing now, has been the night hikes and snoozes and things like that.
What's a night hike? Will you go to the zoo at night?
You're really gonna ask
Yeah.
that? You're really gonna
Yeah.
Hey, what's a night hike?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if is there anything more than just,
I feel like
hey,
you
we're
just tap
opening
me
this
on the
place up at
shoulder.
night.
You literally just tap me on the shoulder. You're like, hey, what does name mean? And we're like taking our SATs.
Oh, no, get the hell out of here. It could mean something. Like,
Get the hell out of here.
Well-
What's a night hike?
well, you're calling it a night. What is this? Go to the zoo at night? It's just like,
Yeah.
we're open at night. Oh, just call it that.
No, yeah, it's an event. It's limited usually to about a max of about 100 or so people, give or take, and it does sell out most of the time. And basically, that's what they do is we lead you around the zoo at night. We take flashlights, put red cellophane on them if you don't have a red one, so that doesn't bother the animal's eyes. And we look at all the nocturnal animals that are, a lot of those nocturnal animals, they are there during the day and you see them, but they're really lazy. They really move around and do a lot more because nighttime's the right time for them.
When I got a military flashlight from
My God.
Javier's outside. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Look at the weed eater literally at our window. He's
Yeah.
like, he's revving the engine.
He's just
right
standing there. I'm looking at you, dude.
There's only a 6-foot square of grass out there. It's not that much.
And it's covered in dog crap. There's no grass there.
It's just
Why don't
weed
you
eating the
weed
doo-doo.
eat the dog crap off our grass? For Christ's sake. Well, when I was a kid, I got that tiny flashlight it's shaped like an L. You hold it like a can of soda, and like I bought one of those at the Army Navy store, and it had a red lens on it. Like it had like a red lens you could put on the flashlight. And I remember thinking, this is the color of light you use when you kill terrorists. That's what I thought as a kid. I remember that's what I thought. I was like, this is what they can't say terrorists, can't see red. That's how stupid I was as a child.
Yeah, that's just one of the things that I do. But we have it's a pretty intensive course to get in. You have to pass it with 80% or higher, and but there's other volunteer opportunities too. I highly encourage anybody listening that's interested in doing any volunteer work at the zoo. The people that are there when people feed the giraffes or go see the bears out at the bear house. Things like that. We have different positions there, and even what we call the teen team. And there's kids that are out there, and they get volunteer hours doing that as well. And
That's
I
important,
highly
too.
encourage them to go to the website,
Like-
centralfloridazoo.org. I highly encourage them to look
I'm
at
glad you said that about the volunteer hours. That is important, especially if you have like a young kid that wants to do like National Honor Society or stuff like
Bright
that.
Futures.
And Bright Futures as well.
IB.
Yeah, some of these scholarships that you're going to apply for, even if you do it like very, very early on, you do need, like Maisie did, National Honor Society, and you need volunteer hours. So actually, she was able to count picking up trash with the side chicks as an hour.
No, really.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, you can do, like, it does count. So it's good to know that the stuff he's talking about, because, like, I was talking to a parent over at Maisie's Dance yesterday, and she didn't really know, like, where you could pick up hours. And Andrea was kind of schooling the lady on, like, well, you can do this, you can do that, like. But yes, knowing that the Central Florida Zoo does that, or Sanford Zoo does that, that's a big deal.
It turns
They
out
do.
that if you just sign, forge a signature and say like, oh yeah, these volunteer hours were completed,
it does work. Yeah.
no one will check.
Yeah, they will. Well, that's if you want no lesson learned. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. There is a quicker way.
There's 0% chance that any institution goes back and calls.
Just ask my resume.
Individual places are like, was Tom Van really here for night out? They'll never do it. Last question, Adam. Because I've always wondered when I'm at the Sanford Zoo and I see the rhino, I thought if I...
You're like, what would happen if I blew weed smoke in its face?
If I jumped in the rhino enclosure and really started effing with it, would it...
What do you mean by effing with it? You're slapping it with your hat?
Well, just like start, agitating
Throw
it.
some snap pops at it.
Like, will it ram kill me?
I love that. Ram kill you.
Will it horn me to death?
I think it's going to horn you up, and then once you land on the ground, it's going to beer can foot stomp you.
Yeah.
Like, would it do that?
If you've ever seen what he does in his spare time, they give him big 55-gallon drum barrels that he just bangs around, flips up in the air, and tears apart. Rhinos are extremely territorial, and if he doesn't know you, like the keepers don't even really go in there with him like that. They have stalls and things to keep them safe, because you never know. The unpredictability of animals is a constant. And yeah, I think PJ, as nice as he is and as lazy as he seems, I think he would it would be a matter of trying to save you. PJ will be fine, but he would definitely knock you around.
I like to tell you and the listeners when I'm feeling like things that are irrational, and I feel like I could go in there unscathed.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could do whatever. I feel like I walk up to him and like pat him on the head, and then he goes to get me, and I feel like almost like a matador. I would just step to the side.
Well,
even with my hips the way that they are, I'm that confident.
Well,
the good news is they don't see very well and extremely far. The bad news is because of that, they'll just charge what they see moving a lot of times.
Just like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, pretty
guy.
much. I don't
Met
think
him one
he'd get
time.
super
Met him
close.
one time. He tackled me at Hard Rock Live.
Well, Adam, thanks so much for being involved in Weird
man.
Job Wednesday.
Thanks
today.
for being a good sport, buddy. You've listened to us and been a part of what we do for a very long time, and I hope you know how much we appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I love being a BDM, and SFT to all the BDMs out there.
Aye, buddy. SFT.
All right, man. See ya.
See ya. You know what's funny is that I text Adam that I was gonna call him, and
He sent you a picture of his penis.
no, in November 26, 2017, Adam texts me a picture. This is when the last time we went to the zoo with the boys. Look how small the boys are. This is when I was fat and had my beard too.
Oh, I like you when you're fat with a beard.
Yeah.
Oh, you look like Kenny Rogers.
I'll show Twitch. And
there is a little bit of backlash. People did love Fat Tom. They did. They thought you were fun. You're laughing all the time. You had the high pitched laugh. You had a beard.
That
guy was fun.
No, that's what people remember. Okay? That they do this with all fat guys that lose weight. They're like, he was more fun fat.
Jonah Hill, like the Jonah Hill, thing.
Or anybody. Like and then it's like they're the same person. Nothing's changed.
I don't know. Jelly Roll lost 100 pounds, and he's changed to me.
I can't tell.
Seems like that was a joke.
It literally looks the same. All right, we will be right back. Welcome back to A Corporate Time.
Hold on, the weed eating man's coming back. It's like he knew we started. It's like, oh, are they back on the air? I'm gonna walk right back to their window.
I feel like I'm going out there and be like, I see you wasting time.
Yeah.
Go waste time somewhere else.
Yeah, we have a weed-eating man that we have. Okay, for those of you that don't know, if you listen to the show for a continuous amount of time, and he's a recurring character.
Yeah.
There's
Javier.
It's Javier, the weed-eating man, and he will come by and he'll weed eat but he weed eats for hours. Like, it's a long weed eat.
He'll be back blowing soon with his blower, which is also loud.
It's very loud, but like he walks down in front of the studio and he weed eats the sidewalk. But it takes a solid 40 minutes.
Right?
Right? Am I wrong?
Hey, it doesn't make any sense because like 20 foot of sidewalk, it should be one
quick.
and done.
It's quick.
There and back, and you edged it, and you move on. But you're right. It's a
Did he
waste of
die?
time.
And it's just maybe he died and he dropped the weed eater and it's just running.
Well,
Anyway, we'll continue.
This has to do with wasting time.
Yeah.
And so many people now have work from home jobs, right?
Yeah, and every other day there's a new story out there about like, will people go all back to the office? What are happening with offices? What's going to happen with people working at home?
I have seen people being forced to go back now, and they're
I'm
not
never
happy
going
about
back. I'm not ever going back.
it. And so it and everybody I know that works from home, it seems like a better, more efficient way to have a job because you can do the work you need to get done, but also do anything else that you need to do for your life's
and
work.
masturbate.
And or anything else.
And
like
poop a lot.
And when you have a work at the office job, they essentially have you in the prison of the office for 8 hours or whatever your workday is.
Well, it's to keep
and
you
you're
on,
stuck
it's
there.
to keep you on task, though.
Yeah.
Really, I think, right?
Now you could waste time there, which everybody has for generations.
I think I probably waste more time at an office than I do at home.
Yeah, but the time, I guess now with the internet, you could essentially do the same amount. Like the only real waste of time is the commute to work.
The drive, yeah.
So I guess when you're at your business address, as long as you have the computer connected to the internet, you can get everything else pretty much
So
done.
what's the big gripe? Is it I don't want you having something that I never had? Like what is or is it truly productivity? Because you do see, I'm not kidding, every day there's a new article out there about like, will everybody go back into the office? It's coming. But like, why? Why would it? Why?
Well, okay, so
because for instance, Andrea, she doesn't go into an office. She works at home. It's all remote. But I would say that because she was afforded that luxury or given that gift of working at home, her productivity is like slammed.
Yeah,
because it's the way she thrives, right?
But she can get a lot else done too, and work because like no one works 100% of the time focused working on
it's impossible
for
to do
8
that.
hours straight.
I don't think you should do that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get your best stuff doing that. You're supposed to work in small increments and take breaks to free your brain of decision fatigue.
So I think the overall problem is when someone comes in the office, right? Okay, say I'm the boss, right?
And, you are, so use this as an example.
then we have an employee, and that employee's in working in the other room, right?
We had this.
I can't see him doing nothing. I assume that he's in there doing nothing.
Quiet in there.
Yeah.
Awfully quiet in there.
But he's here, and that makes me feel like, well, at least he's here at my beck and call, where I can scream, "Get in here!"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
or if you reminded him of a few things and he still didn't do it, you know you're still wasting his human time.
So, and then let's say he has a list of tasks that I need him to do every day. And
this sounds oddly specific.
And I think that I'm like, okay, these tasks should take the full day, full work day, right? But I grossly underestimate
it, yeah.
Or overestimated.
Well, you gave him too much time, is what I'm saying.
The amount of time these tasks
the person,
take,
not
right?
him. I don't want to say.
So, and this is the problem with employee-boss relationship. So the employee's like, I finished all my tasks for my day, so now I'm doing my own things because what am I going to do? Just F off and do nothing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, now I'm doing other things.
Well, we had that here, but luckily everybody that worked here felt the need to be like, we're getting out here early. I'll stay and work on some stuff, you know?
Yeah.
We've never had that issue.
Well, so I feel like that's what companies are dealing with now, where they realize like, the work that I expected from you per day, it doesn't really even take a full day. You're getting it done fast, super efficient, because you don't need to draw it out like you used to do here. You know?
Well, are you paying for the work or are you paying for the time? Right? Isn't that the question?
Yes. I got a good example. When I used to work at Champ Sports, which I saw the other day when I was at the mall, right? I remember.
You didn't miss it, did you?
My only job was to get, on a Tuesday, all the shipment of shoes would come in through FedEx. and they drop them off in like the tunnels on the outside of the mall, whatever, like or in between stores.
Yeah.
So they'd load
Back
them
where
up
the
there.
bathrooms are.
I would check to make sure all the shipment was right, and then check it off, and then load the shipment in the back room, and then take the shoes out of the boxes and put them on the shelf.
Gotcha.
That was my job. And each week, all of it had to be done, right? And I remember asking my manager at the time, because then I would take my time, do it slowly, whatever. And I'm like, I could do this way faster. I remember one time I got finished. Like, I was like, how fast could I do this?
Oh, I love a good challenge.
And
yeah.
I
My
got-
daughter's at that age now where everything is time me.
And I busted my ass, and I got done 3 hours early.
Nice.
And then so I remember I was like, oh, well, I could do this way faster. And then I'm like, this is my job. This is what they pay me to do. So I was like, I remember asking the manager, I was like, well, if I get this done early, like, can I leave?
Yeah, can I go to the food court?
Or, I'm just like, leave home.
Yeah.
Like, I finished my job.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, your schedule is, till 8 p.m. at night or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you get done early. You have to stay.
But how
late.
would you regulate it right? Like, I guess what they're trying to... Okay, let's say everybody did that at a company. Everybody was just like, hey, if you get your stuff done, you're good. Like,
Yeah.
what's the detriment to that?
Well,
There's got to be a the reason I'm asking that is there's got to be a reason why we're sticking with the hourly, like you're on the clock sort of scenario. No.
Well, because then if you look at it, I always, until we became business owners, it would make me mad about how business owners would treat me as an employee, right?
Okay,
Because
I see where you're driving. Yeah.
Because it's always grass is greener, or you see the different
Yeah.
perspectives. So if one of my employees said, like, I got everything done, can I leave early? You pay me, you pay me to do this. I'm thinking, well, now I know you could do more.
Right.
I want you
Right.
to do this and another 3 hours of something different.
Right.
And then I, as the employee, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna take my time and stretch this out. And then they're like, all right, well, because they're not gonna force you to work fast.
No,
you
they
know.
can't.
And then I remember when I got, Vince Taylor, when he came in, he was started like busting his ass, doing shipments and stuff. And that's when I thought, slow down, buddy.
Yeah.
Like what are you in a rush
It
for?
reminds me of like
we're
a
stuck here.
reverse American History X scene where like Guy Torrey and Edward Norton, or you know what I mean? Like I feel like you and Vince had that like American History X, like laundry room kind of a shoe store vibe.
And so it's working faster and more efficiently doesn't really help me as the employee, because now I just have to do more stuff and I don't get to go home. There's no incentive for me. And so that's the company's fault for not offering an incentive to work fast and efficiently. And
Right.
they're just saying, like, there's no, do it at your time, whatever, as long as even if you don't finish or whatever, I don't know.
It's funny, the chat room, EJ says, I wonder why Tom lost all of his employees. EJ, you realize when you say that, you're also insulting me. Right? You get that, right?
And we only had 3.
Yeah. And I don't think they left for that reason. I mean, my God, man.
Yeah. Believe me, our employees had it easy.
Yeah. Oh,
we're
trust
not
me.
a slave
Yeah.
driver.
Yeah, we're pretty, as far as like not holding you to the fire, we're pretty good bosses. We're the non-fire holding bosses. And if you get your work done and you ask for the rest of the day,
we're
probably going to get it.
Yeah, because I
don't think we ever not gave it.
I always lean towards just, if you get it done fast, that's your
Get outta
incentive to
here.
leave.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like I'd rather you than waste time and do it slow just so you could work out the hours. That doesn't make any sense. But now we live in a world where a lot of people work at home, and there's this new thing like overemployment where you're getting two full-time jobs because you could do them both from home. And then now, which I don't know how, like, I guess you could have as many full-time jobs as you want, but what if you're like claiming, 120 hours of work a week because it only takes you 80, You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I mean, mechanics do this. Like my buddy's a mechanic. There's jobs like so
That you know what it takes. The normal person, you know what it takes you.
Well, billing hours, like if you're a mechanic, there's like you have a transmission overhaul, whatever. That's like 17 and a half hours of billing hours, right?
Yeah.
You can get it done in half that time and
Sure.
still get paid the 17. That's how you make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as you do it correctly, you could bill an insane amount of hours because technically
but
here,
that's the experience.
Yeah.
So being able to do it a little faster than the other guys.
And like sales jobs, like the more you sell, the more you make in commission. Like that's why commission jobs always made more sense to me in my brain, and I've always been more attracted to
My dad loved commission jobs
because you're in charge of your own pay.
He liked it.
Standard,
but it stressed you the hell out.
Well, it depends on how
he lived and died by it. I mean, he loved it, but he liked being in control of like
how much money you make.
Yeah, do I want to make a ton of money? Well, I will bust my ass, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And there's really no end. To it. Do you want to work into the night? Do you want to, like you can do it.
You can sell as much as you want. Because the company, they're like, I don't care.
Stop you,
You're just getting a portion of the money you're
they
making.
They get the bigger cut.
Yeah,
they get the bigger cut for sure.
So, and, it allows you to work slower if you want, because the company's like, whatever. It's like, I like that type of job.
Now, on the flip of that, I'm sitting here saying that my father loved commission jobs. He did. In fact, I think it was the only jobs he ever worked. In fact, when he retired, when he still went back to work at Husqvarna selling their products and concrete saws and stuff like that, he was still getting commission selling that. He liked that because he's a good salesman. So he knew his strengths. It's funny though, like I've never had, and he told me he didn't want me to have a commission-based job. He did not want me to be a salesman at all. No, sir.
I know there's people that are doing this. I just haven't met them yet, and I've met a couple people that did this a little bit.
Bisexual people?
No, the work from home people that are young enough, they don't have kids, and they can just go and get an Airbnb for a month or 2 months.
That's what my buddy Dave's doing now.
In different locations, and then your office is wherever your laptop is, and you can live wherever because that.
Dave and his wife have a company, and that's where they work, and then they have their computer equipment, they take it with them, and now that's their new job.
Because that seems so much more valuable than a normal job that it's like, to me, in my mind, it's worth like $50,000 extra to be able to be wherever you want. I know some people aren't like that, but it's like,
well, also
that's
you can
so awesome.
You can also move, be wherever you want.
Live wherever
you can move it. So there's no such thing as not being in a place that you don't want to be because you just go to a place you want to be in.
Live for 4 months in Seattle. Live in Maine for just check out the experience living in awesome places. And find a place you really like, you want to settle down.
Now, I'm sure it's extremely difficult to do it because there's logistics and, I don't know, consistency of internet or whatever. I'm sure there are limitations to make it difficult. But, yeah, it does sound cool.
Yeah, and it just allows you so much freedom that because...
Chat room is saying, this is from Jen in the chat room, and this is interesting. Yeah, some companies, she said, Geico wouldn't allow us to do that. They track the VPN. So, some places aren't going to want you to do I guess with your example, you're giving an example of a
vacation.
Well, you're giving an example of a company that doesn't care. I kind of think Andrea's company is like that. I think my wife's company is very much on, you just do your job. We don't care where you're at.
Yeah. As long as you get it done.
As long as you're getting it done, which I think you're going to see more of. I think that's coming.
But then if I'm the boss and I know my employees, they're like on a ski vacation, but they're still technically getting their job done, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
but it's not going to ever bother you. It would bother me. You're not the type of person to let it bother. I am the type of person to for that to be under my skin more than you.
Yeah, but it would be for different reasons. It would make you mad because you would think that they are
not giving 100%.
Are attack or this is an insult to you.
It's an insult to our company.
To me, it just shows me that you're the amount of work that your job entails
Is easy
not
for
enough.
you. Yeah.
You
need a
need
challenge.
more.
You
Yeah,
need a
yeah.
challenge,
You need to be working 3
We shouldn't
times.
be like saying our business. Why are we airing this out? Now anybody
this is
we
the
work
problem.
with, now if I'm talking to old merchman, and I'm like, I think you need a challenge. And he's like, I heard you say this. You idiot.
No. Well, it's nothing to do with we are. I'm talking more of a bigger
I'm joking
corporate.
around.
No, but even with the Geico thing, like I'm sure you could hide it, like with VPN.
If you have
right?
to use their software, I would say no.
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
logging in through Geico's interface, you're probably locked into whatever they have. They're a massive company.
Now, what if you just what's that where you log in from another computer to your computer?
Oh, remote in? I do that all the time here.
Like, could you just?
I did that last night. We had a file that was wonky, so I remoted in from here and threw it back into the Dropbox.
Could you just go wherever you want, remote into your home desktop, and then pretend to work from there? And
Well, technically, you are working from that desktop.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remote in here and shut things down, you'll see the mouse moving and everything. It's like a ghost. It's like the ghost.
Yeah.
It's like the old Sam Darnold ghost. I'm there clicking away, doing it.
I love finding ways to cheat corporations. It's I'm not joking. It's my favorite thing. Like, and it's not
Even if it's our own corporation. I'm at my house logging in.
no. That one gets me. Every time I try to cheat ourselves, I'm like, ah. But
Yeah, Jay's saying that for his, it's too slow to work efficiently off remotely. But I'll tell you, mine is not. I use a thing called Remote PC, and I kid you not. I have logged in from the kitchen table at my house just because I'm too lazy to drive one street over and edited a piece of audio from this computer at my, at breakfast. And then exported it out.
It's more fun for me to find a way to cheat than it is. I remember.
Yeah, it's selfish. You're taking away my joy.
Well, I remember spending days figuring out how to cheat on my SATs, and I remember people were telling me like, "Just study." You do, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. It's
Jay's doing like CAD work and stuff. Yeah, I can see that being a lot.
I'm gonna try to convince my sons if it's still remote work. I imagine will still be a thing.
Well,
and,
work won't even be a thing.
Yeah,
What are we doing?
Everything.
You
will,
don't need to work. I'm lounging, remote lounging.
Yeah, everything will be some sort of.
I want that universal income, man. Come on, give me that.
Well, that's when AI takes everything. It's like you have to pay.
Here is your money.
You have to pay your citizens because there's no way to keep the economy going because there's no job. The computers.
That's when you release the oil and you burn them alive.
All right, we will see you tomorrow.